If you're someone who wants to become a better public speaker, today we're going to cover 3 different ways that you can do that, all from the comfort of home. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is this. This is a very important mindset shift that I'd like you to make in order for the rest of this to work. If you would like to become a better public speaker, odds are you've already spent some time researching this, looking into it, reading about tips and tricks, watching videos, etc. But here's the thing. Are you actually using the tips and the skills and the tricks that you're learning? Are you using them, or are you just absorbing them and letting them rest? The things that you are learning actually need to be put into practice if you'd like to improve your communication skills. That's just a simple reality. When we are consuming so much information, it's fantastic because it gets our wheels turning, it gets us thinking, it gets us to see the different possibilities of what is out there. But it's not enough to just consume the knowledge, because then it just stays as theoretical knowledge in our mind. It's things that we hear, it's things that we learn about, and then it's things that we forget. So if you're someone who's looking to improve your communication skills, I encourage you to continue watching videos and accessing resources and seeing what you can do and seeing what's possible for you, but then going out and actually practicing those things, then going out and actually putting them into practice, even if that means on your own from the comfort of home. Okay? So it's not enough to know everything theoretically, you need to put them into action. Now, not everything that you consume, not every tip, not every trick, not every strategy will be applicable to you. Some things really resonate with us and some things work well for us based on our personality, our situation, the scenario that we're applying it in, and some things will not. And that's totally okay. Don't let that discourage you. If you come across some information and some tips that aren't working for you, that doesn't mean that you're not capable of becoming a better communicator. It just means that you haven't put the right tip or the right strategy into the right context for you. As an example, imagine that you are someone who has a lot of one-on-one interactions, perhaps with clients, with colleagues, at work. Maybe you run your own business and you deal with coaching clients all day long. That is a very different context, and that requires a completely different set of skills and strategies than someone who's going on stage or leading a meeting in front of a group of 20 people or more. Someone leading that group of 20 or more will need tips about public speaking in the sense of their body language, projecting, the types of hand gestures that they should be making, versus someone who's just dealing one-on-one with clients, especially if it's more of a virtual setting like a Zoom coaching call. You need a completely different set of skills. You need to know how to really handle the upper part of your body language that's seen on camera. You need to know how to hold space for the client to share their insights. You need to know how to tailor your language and your tone based on that context. Completely different skill sets, all within the realm of communication. So again, continue putting yourself out there, continue consuming the knowledge that you need, but be selective with what you are choosing so that it works for you in your context and so that you're actually able to put it into practice. This brings me to my second point. You need to practice. Starting out with practicing at home in an environment where you're comfortable is the best place to start. Stepping out of our comfort zone is always challenging, no matter who you are, no matter what your background is, no matter what your experience is. Stepping out of your comfort zone is challenging for everyone, but you still need to do it. Without that icky feeling and without stepping out of your comfort zone, you will not see growth and you will not see any progress, which is opposite to what you want. So starting out with practicing at home, one of the best ways to do this is to set up your phone or open up the camera on your laptop and just record yourself. Do the thing that you learned. So if, for example, you're practicing for a presentation and you learned the importance of body language and body cues, turn on your camera and record yourself practicing that body language. Play around with your posture, play around with your hand gestures, and then watch it back. Because number one, you're actually putting the things that you learned into practice. You are physically doing the things embodying the knowledge that you've learned. Number two, you're able to watch it back and give yourself feedback. The more that we do something, naturally, the easier it becomes. So when you're stepping out of your comfort zone for the very first time, it's going to feel intimidating, and that's okay. But getting those initial reps out at home will make you feel so much better than doing it live for the first time in front of someone that matters, like a client, a colleague, a boss, whatever the case. So practice, practice, practice at home. Once you're comfortable practicing with recording yourself, well, now you can try it live in front of friends and family. That way, you start to feel a little bit of those nerves, a little bit of that pressure by being in front of actual live people, but it's still a safe space for you to practice, especially if you're able to select colleagues, family, or friends who are supportive, who are kind, and who will give you honest feedback in the sense of feedback that will let you grow and progress. So it's one thing to get feedback from people that says, "You did great, that was good, fantastic." That doesn't necessarily help you grow. It can definitely be a very nice confidence boost, but if you are looking to progress, ask people for honest feedback on areas of improvement, especially if they're able to give you action steps for ways that you can improve. So for example, if you are practicing for that presentation and you are rehearsing your body language and you're trying to maintain, confident posture, the use of confident hand gestures, ask them for feedback. Was there anywhere in the presentation that you sort of stopped or you went back to your comfort level? Was there anywhere in the presentation where it was too much and you perhaps came off as over the top or arrogant or too cocky, right? Ask for specific feedback. That alone will help you grow and progress so much faster. And the more that you do it, again, the easier it becomes to step out of your comfort zone. Once you're so used to doing these things in front of family and friends, it becomes a little bit easier to do it in front of colleagues and clients and in situations where the stakes are a little bit higher. Once you have taken the time to, again, consider the theoretical knowledge that you're consuming and actually put it into practice, once you have gone through and put in the reps to practice, and to grow and improve and get used to expanding your comfort zone, well, now you're going to go out and you're going to try it in low stakes environments in front of people that you don't know. This could mean going to a coffee shop and asking someone to watch your presentation and give you feedback on it. Even if it's just like a 5-minute excerpt of your entire presentation. Doing it live in front of a stranger will mimic some of those nerves and will help you, again, expand out of your comfort zone and really start to see the progress of you becoming a better public speaker. If you are someone who perhaps is looking to improve your communication, again, with clients, with everyday interactions, go out and mimic that. Maybe try to sell yourself to someone you meet out in public, at the park, at the gym, at a coffee shop. Strike up a conversation with them and talk to them about your services. Again, that will mimic the same kind of jitters that it would on a call, but it's a low stakes environment. Because if it's not going well, if the feedback you get isn't that great, it's okay, because they were not there to get your services. You were just stepping out of your comfort zone and getting the practice in. The more that you're able to do this, the easier it will become. The first few times will always be the hardest. The stepping out of your comfort zone, especially with your communication, is always hard at first. So we're taught to speak and we're taught to communicate a certain way when we are very young, starting from early childhood. As we progress through school, as we talk to specific teachers, friends, the parents of our friends, we are molded and taught to speak and communicate in a specific way. So by this point in your life, you have years, if not decades, worth of habits that you have built up. So be kind to yourself. Breaking those habits and stepping out of your comfort zone after doing something for decades will take time. But on the other hand, you won't be able to break that habit without putting in the intentional work and the intentional practice. Let me give you an example. If you are someone who uses a lot of filler words when you talk, if you have been using filler words for years, it's going to be hard to break that habit. But it's not impossible. It just takes practice. So if you're looking to break the habit of using filler words, the first thing you need to do is sit down, record yourself, and go through an entire sentence or an entire paragraph without using a single filler word. And that will take repetition. It will take practice to sit there and record yourself and speak freely. And anytime you feel like saying, because you're thinking, being intentional with using a silence instead. And again, that will take time. But here's the beautiful thing. Once you are putting your focus on improving this thing, once you have made it your intention and you're practicing becoming better, your mind naturally starts to notice. Your mind naturally starts to pick up on these habits. So then, as you're speaking, even in everyday conversations, when you're at work, with your family, with your partner, you'll naturally start to notice the moments when you say And because it's something that you're working on, you'll naturally start to pick up on why that happened. Were you thinking? Were you in the moment just out of habit saying because that happens too? You'll start to notice the patterns and you'll start to notice how often it happens. And then you'll start to catch yourself before you say And that's when you know that you're making real progress. Because you won't be able to change your communication overnight. In most cases, it's just too hard because, again, years or decades worth of communication habits. But you will see progress. And once you are noticing that you are noticing, that is an amazing sign that you are on the right track. So again, if you're looking to improve your public speaking skills, the first thing you want to do is educate yourself. But then the second thing you want to do is really put it into practice. Start with something that you're comfortable with at home, in front of family and friends, recording yourself. But then make it a point to go out and practice in front of actual people in live situations. The more that you're able to do that, the more that you're able to step out of your comfort zone, the easier that it will become. And that's when you'll see the beautiful progress and the beautiful growth. And if you persist, you will see the change. I can guarantee it. Put in the practice, put in the reps, and most importantly, don't get caught in the mindset of, I already know. If you hear something, if you read something, if you get advice from someone, if you get feedback from someone, avoid the use of I already know. Because that blocks you from growth, that blocks you from progress, that blocks you from really implementing the thing that you know. Because when you know something theoretically, it remains theoretical until you put it into practice and until you really learn to embody that thing. So if you're looking to improve your filler words and someone gives you advice and you say, I already know, but you're not doing it, then you don't really know. And that alone will hold you back from seeing the progress. So if you catch yourself, if you find yourself saying, I already know, I've already heard this, oh, I've heard this before, catch yourself and then ask yourself, am I using the things that I've heard? Okay, awesome. Those are all my tips for today. Comment down below if you have any questions whatsoever, or if you have any requests for future video topics. I'm happy to cover tips, strategies, and all that good things to help you become a better communicator. See you in the next video. Bye.